Hello Alberto. This is going to be the Safari camera controller that you will be receiving to operate your Sony A580. And it is powered by 3 AA batteries. It comes with a toggle switch to turn the control board on and off. This can be mounted either inside your waterproof case, or you can drill a hole and run the barrel of the switch through the case. And I would suggest, if you do that you mount it coming out the bottom of the case. That way you don't get any water intrusion into the inside of the case. You'll also be receiving the HPWA Fresnel lens, and I have this marked as top so that you know which way it orients on your case. So this would need to be facing up. You'll need to drill holes through your waterproof case so that the HPWA lens can be mounted, and so that the control board can be mounted. Now the control board has a mounting plate on the bottom, and this can be used as a guide to mark out the hole locations that you need to drill in your case. Just remove the 4 screws that hold this base plate on, and then take that base plate, which would be this part. You can use a waterproof case that's going to be large enough to accommodate your camera and the control board and any batteries and stuff that you have. Trying to position my camera here so you can see. So anyway, just kind of get you a large enough case that everything would fit into. Kind of lay it out ahead of time, you know, plan out where you're going to put everything to make sure everything's going to fit properly. And then once you have that figured out, you can take the little mounting template and place it in your case. Use like a fine tip marker of some sort and mark out the hole locations in each of the corners for the mounting screws, and then mark out that center hole location, and then find the center of that point. And you would need to drill a 1-inch hole or 25mm hole dead center, and then holes in the corners large enough to accommodate the screws. Alright, so then you would run the screws through the outside of your case through this mounting plate, and then mount the control board back to that plate, so that when you put it into the case, it's like positioned so. Now the control board can be mounted horizontally or vertically. It's a square board, so it doesn't matter, you know, which way you turn it. It's gonna work in any direction, horizontally or vertically. Okay. Once you have the control board mounted to the case, then you would take the HPWA Fresnel and glue that into the hole, and this base plate would assure that the HPWA Fresnel is centered directly over the PIR sensor that is on the control board. You need to use some type of waterproof adhesive or waterproof sealant to put around this edge on the HPWA Fresnel, and then when you put it into the case, that will seal that hole so that water cannot get inside the case. I would also recommend putting a little of the waterproof sealant over the screws so that water can't get in where you drill holes for those also. Alright, now this is a build that I've done with the HPWA Fresnel lens mounted to the outside of the case, just to kind of give you an idea of what that would look like. Like I said, you want to make sure that you put some type of waterproof sealant over the screw heads, and that the Fresnel lens is sealed all the way around. And even though this has a different control board in it than I sell, this is similar to what it would look inside your case with the control board mounted. And as you can see, the Fresnel lens is directly over the PIR sensor that is on the control board. Alright, now once you have your build completed, I'm going to, just as a demonstration, show you how the programming on the Safari camera control board would operate your camera. You need to have in your menu settings of your camera, you need to set the camera to go into sleep, which you probably already know that, but you could use the shortest sleep setting that your camera menu will allow. I don't know what that would be, but like I said, just for demonstration purposes, I have a Canon DSLR camera connected to the control board, running the same program that you will get. Even though it isn't specifically for this camera, it will work. So, and you will need to, your cable that's coming from your camera, I believe the wiring on yours would be, your white wire would connect to the terminal designated as P, which would be, if you start from the left, it would go to the fourth one to the right. That would be the white wire. Then your yellow wire would go to the terminal designated as PC for power common, which is going to be the third terminal. And then your red wire, which is going to be your shutter wire, would go into the terminal designated as S for shutter, which is the second from the left. Okay, now like I said, make sure your camera is set to sleep. It should be in sleep mode when you power the control board on. Okay, and at the beginning of the program, what it's going to do is it's going to activate the camera to come on, and it should shutter about 8 to 10 photos just as a test to make sure that everything is working correctly. I believe on mine, with this Canon camera, it's going to take maybe 8 or 9 photos. Then once that is completed, the program will go through, and I believe it's going to blink around 20 times to indicate that it is ready for motion detection. And then if motion is detected, the program will cycle the camera on, and it will take 6 photos. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn the control board on. I'm going to just lift it up here so you can actually see the LEDs, or the LED on the control board when it blinks. And once I turn the control board on, the camera's going to come on. Alright, so my camera took 8 photos, and then the LED is blinking on the board, and now it's going to be ready to start taking photos. No, I'm sorry. There we go. It took it just a little bit longer to get ready, but now it's cycled through a 6 photo sequence. And if it detects motion again, it takes an additional 6 photos. Each time it detects motion, it will do that. Okay, so from here, if it did not detect any more motion, the camera would sit idle until the sleep timer on your camera causes it to go into sleep mode to save battery power. Now, on my particular camera, the lowest sleep setting that I have is 30 seconds, so I'm going to sit here and wait, and you can see actually when the LCD screen goes off that the camera is in sleep mode, and then we will activate it again to cycle another 6 photos. So camera just went into sleep, so now we activate it with motion, the camera comes back on, and it took an additional 6 photos. So that's the way that works. So now we're going to power the control board off, and now that it's not going to do anything. So and on the HPWA Fresnel, if you want to have a narrow field of detection, the HPWA Fresnel has a foam ring on the inside, and you can leave that in place to narrow the field of view that it detects motion in. Or if you want a wider field of view, which I believe would be out to around 120 degrees, you can actually just remove this foam ring from inside the HPWA Fresnel, and that would broaden your field of detection to pick up any animals at a wider distance or a wider range of motion. So hopefully I've covered everything that you need, and if you have any questions on this when you get it, you can certainly email me and ask me. One other thing too is on your wiring. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that I explained how your wires need to go, but if your camera does not work properly or will not come on and take photos, it could be because your white and yellow wires are reversed, and so you just need to swap those around on the control board. There's a fellow that lives in California that uses Sony A680s, and he's pretty sure that your camera remote shutter cable is going to be the same color wires as his, and should be wired up just like his. Also, there's a Facebook group that is called Cougar Magic, COUGARMAGIC, all one word, and you can go on there and look at photos that he has posted. His name is Dan Potter, and he uses the Safari camera control board as well as my Game Watcher control board. That's what he uses exclusively with his Sony A6000s, and they work really well for him. One other thing that I didn't mention is this control board has dip switches on it down here. Do not worry about those. Leave them in the off position just like they are when you get the control board. So you don't need to do anything with those. Alright, Alberto, I hope this works out great for you. I feel really confident that it will. And like I said, if you have any questions on anything, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.